The opinions expressed in this show are the views of the host and not necessarily that of WTRW, 94.3 The Talker, or the Bold Gold Media Group.
The following presentation is paid for by Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, who is solely responsible for its content. Portions transcribed.
All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker of Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm here with my husband, co-host, fellow realtor, Pat Devaney. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good, thank you. We're with James Caceres, associate broker with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
One of our top producers in 2025 is going to join our conversation this week and next week. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where we talk real estate. We have an exceptional real estate team with many full-time realtors that have been listing, selling, and appraising real estate for over 50 years.
During the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com. Or you can give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you go to jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab, that's a mouthful, and get a live view of Dunmore Corners and see what's going on. You never know what you're going to see.
Never. View our listings, search the MLS listings, and listen to archive radio shows by going to mobile-friendly jruddy.com, jruddy.com, and check us out on social media. Okay, James Caceres, licensed since 2022, became an associate broker in 2025. You also have the designation, the Accredited Buyer Representative, ABR designation from NAR. In 2025, you sold over $5 million. 2024, over $7 million. And in 2023, over $5 million. You also received, you're bilingual, and last year, you for several years in a row, but number 27 in the Northeast in 2024. We're waiting for the 2025 results, and this is the National Association of Hispanic Realtors that awarded you number 27 in the Northeast. That's phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, that's correct. It's quite an accomplishment.
I would say, yeah.
A lot of work.
A lot of work, yeah. So you obviously take your real estate career seriously, and you continue with education, which I believe is very important. And you receive the designations and the associate broker license, and that sets you apart. So that makes a difference. And I know last month, March, was Women's History Month. Right. So I have a little data here from NAR.
What's NAR?
NAR is the National Association of Realtors.
Okay, because my sister listens and she says, they use abbreviations. She says, I don't know what they're talking about.
Yes.
Right,
my
Eileen?
bad.
I'm talking to my sister. Right, Eileen?
Yes, she does. She listens faithfully and loyally every weekend.
In Gettysburg.
Yes, before I dive into Women's History Month and the data I have regarding that, I want to say hi to Tony, who once was our neighbor over by the Marywood section of Dunmore. And I saw him, and he says he, from time to time, listens. And I said I wanted to give him a shout out. He likes to stay a little discreet in these matters, so I won't say his last name. But hi, Tony. Hope you're listening today. All right. So back to National Association of Realtors, NAR. Despite making less money on average, single women homebuyers continue to outpace men, representing 20% of all homebuyers compared to single men at only 8%. And until 1974, women were not legally allowed to obtain a mortgage without a cosigner.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. How about it? So they've come a long way, baby. Wasn't there a cigarette?
That was a Virginia Slims commercial.
Yeah, that was.
You've come a long way, baby.
Do they still manufacture Virginia Slims? I don't smoke, so I don't even know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
Okay, so since NAR started researching data for home buyers and sellers, you know, the trends and the demographics, they started that research in 1981. So since that time, the share of women homebuyers has nearly doubled. In 2024, which is the last year that they have right now on record, single women comprise 24% of all first-time homebuyers. The average age of single woman first-time homebuyers was 40, compared to 34 for their single male counterparts. And I guess it just boils down to financial discipline and such. So sometimes women are a little better in those categories.
Is that what, are you trying to say something here?
Well, I don't know about anybody else out there, but I think Pat likes his toys.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
What toys?
Toys, my old cars.
Oh, nice.
Those are investments.
Yeah.
Investments that you can drive.
Collectibles.
That's
yeah.
right. See, James is on my page.
You know, you work with everybody, sellers, buyers. You rent apartments for owner landlords, and commercial properties, multifamily properties, land, single family residence. Would you say that you're seeing an uptick in single female women buyers?
Single female? I would say it's about 50-50.
So
Yeah.
even our area, because
Even in our area, yeah.
sometimes these articles that we read up on, and that this is from Pennsylvania Association of Realtors that sent this. This is data from the National Association of Realtors. Sometimes it's not really so in our area, but you see, you deal with people.
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of clients now that just got divorced, and they're females, and they're looking for single family homes, and then there's
Female investors. Do you see female investors?
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I do have one that's looking.
Okay.
So she actually has a couple of properties, and she's looking in our area, and she's also single. But as far as men,
Single men.
I don't know if they're single or if they're coming out of divorce, but I do notice it more with women.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this is a spot-on article. Good.
I guess so.
All right. So tell me about you and your career in real estate and how you work and so much what areas you serve.
Okay. Well, I serve all of Lackawanna County, Wayne and Pike County, and Luzerne County. I deal mostly with single-family homes and multifamily. Not so much land and commercial properties, but I do, whenever I can. And now I'm starting to jump more into the rentals. I have noticed that that's been picking up a little bit more. And more with investors as well, looking for multifamily units.
The investors in our area right now, are they from our area? Whoever you're working with, are they from this area or are they from out of the area? Where are they mostly coming from?
They're mostly coming from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, those areas.
When I met Jackie 30 years ago, 31 years ago, there was an investor and he was looking at properties in Scranton. And he says, I'm not paying more than $15,000 per unit inside a building. So you get a 3-family for 45. But that's a long time ago. That would have been a good investment.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those were the numbers.
Yes.
Back then.
Yes.
That was a lot. It's really taken off since then. And when you rent a property these days, I mean, the rentals are going quickly too. There's a lot of people that would prefer to rent or are not in a position.
Right.
Whether they're coming from homeownership and then don't want the responsibilities, or
I have a client right now that a woman who is going through a divorce, and she's going to be listing her home, and she doesn't want to buy another home. She wants to rent. She doesn't want to go through the process again. So, yeah.
And it's good because you can get up and you can go. You're not tied down.
Right.
There's advantages to renting. Not everybody should own a home. Can I say that on the Real Estate Roundtable? That not everybody should own a home. Some people should rent.
Well, in that case, so I don't know. So for me, as a woman, and say, for whatever reason I was on my own, I would probably buy a condo or a townhouse. Okay. I would prefer that my money went to something.
Right, to build some equity. Understood.
So, but when I was young and I was 20 and I moved out of my house, I was not in a position to...
Right, you had to rent.
Well, I was just going to say that. Like, for example, this woman, she's got her mortgage payment, and then any repairs that need to be done on the property of the home, that's all on her. She doesn't have, she's a single woman. So those are expenses that, she would have to take care of.
Right. A roof is $15,000 easy, right?
More than that.
15,
I paid almost $30 for mine.
Wow. Now, if you need a boiler, how much is a new furnace?
Well, there's so many different things that could affect a decision. If I had young children, my devotion and attention would be to them. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't want to be cutting grass and thinking about roofs and things like that. Right. So, it just depends where you are in life. Yeah. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But rentals, I think the amount that you pay for a rental these days could be just as much, maybe more, than a monthly mortgage payment.
I've seen some situations where it's more. I've had clients rent, and comparing it to the prices of a home, they're paying more in rent than what you would pay for a mortgage. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you're working with buyers, what do you see that they sometimes overlook? If it's a first-time home buyer or any buyer, maybe the first-time home buyers we should focus on for this question, because sometimes they forget that there's, your mortgage, your principal, your interest, your insurance, your taxes, and then all the utilities and upkeep for the home. So, we do the closing cost estimate when they're working with us.
Right.
How much would it cost to close on this home out of pocket and down payment? And I think a lot of times they get confused between the down payment and the closing cost, thinking that it's one and the same.
Right. That's true. Well, what I've seen is people miss flood insurance. And I just had a deal fall apart because of the flood insurance. It increased their debt-to-income ratio, and they couldn't afford the monthly mortgage payment. So as much as they looked for, an affordable flood insurance company, it just didn't work out. And so we had to back out of that deal.
So if you're looking for a house and it's in a certain area and I'm going to get a mortgage, I need to get that flood insurance? The bank mandates me to get that flood insurance, right?
You have to have it. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And
if it's in a flood zone.
Right, if it's in a flood zone, it depends on what FEMA says. It depends on the map.
Right.
The location is everything on that.
Yeah.
So if you're up on the side of a mountain, you probably don't need flood insurance. But certain places, and it doesn't matter what town it is, need the flood insurance. We had the flood insurance guys on years ago.
Yeah, you could actually be in an area that is not a flood zone, and there's the definition. I can't say it word for word, but he gave us a definition of a flood, and you could be flooded and you don't have this insurance. You're not covered. Your homeowner's insurance doesn't cover it.
Right.
Well, yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's one of those things. We didn't see it on the listing, and we got as far as getting the appraisal done and everything, and then they hit us with, "Oh, you need the insurance." So it was missed,
and it's very expensive.
Yeah, it was like an additional $400 a month for on top of
everything else. Wow.
Right. Well, that would undoubtedly affect matters tremendously.
And going back to everything, she's a single woman.
Yeah.
Single young woman, and it was too much.
Back to the drawing board. She didn't get disappointed in the sense that she's going to stop looking, or is she going to continue to look?
Well, what happened with her in her situation was in the area where she's looking, they offer the assistance with the program NeighborWorks. So she was able to get funding for her closing costs and down payment and all of that. but anywhere outside of that area, they don't have the funds at this time. So, there wasn't anything really available for her. So we're still working together, but everything is just on hold right now.
Okay. All right. Until something comes up in that area.
Right. Or when the funding does become available for her to look in our area here.
All right. Okay. Right. So those places do help first-time home buyers.
Yeah, it's a great program. I've worked with them many times, and sometimes, like the last closing that we had, the woman only had to come to the closing table with less than $300.
Yeah.
So it's beneficial if you qualify for it and you meet their requirements. Yeah, you could definitely get a lot of money.
You're bilingual. So how many buyers would you say would be somebody that would need you as a professional to speak Spanish?
I would say most of my clients, probably about 75%, are Spanish speaking clients. More first time home buyers than anything. It seems to be one of those things where I help one home buyer and then they tell their family member, and it just keeps balling.
Right.
Referral is the way to go.
Yeah,
Personal
absolutely.
referrals.
Absolutely.
Nothing beats that.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have a good name in the community. So
I
where
would
do
think
you,
so.
where do they mostly buy? Are they mostly in the city of Scranton, or are they going all over?
It's funny. Most people want Scranton. They I guess they're coming from New York or New Jersey. They're used to that populated, congested way of living, and they come out here and they see places like I'm gonna say maybe like Lake Ariel, Carbondale, Jessup, but then they want to focus on living in Scranton or Wilkes-Barre for some reason, where it's more populated. So that's what I'm seeing.
Well, I think those communities do provide services and establishments that cater to them. They have grocery stores that are...
Yeah, but even just the locality of having a grocery store that's within walking distance,
Right.
For many people.
Right.
I'm up in Lake Ariel.
No,
there's
you're
this.
driving for miles.
I got to put it on my planner that I'm going to the store.
Yeah, and there's no public transportation out there. Out here, at least you have the bus. I mean, they're working on doing a train, but they've been saying that since God knows
forever.
when. Yeah,
but you can jump in an Uber too, and it's just a little quick. It's a quick ride.
Exactly. There's taxi companies.
Right.
James, how does someone get in touch with you, please? James Caceres.
If anybody wants to get in contact with me, my phone number is 570-352-7106, and they can also reach me by email, enj.century21@gmail.com.
Thank you, James. Pat?
Yes, we have a 50 by 155 lot at 658 Sanderson Street in Troop for only $24,000. This is a level lot. It's cleared, and it's surrounded by a mix of both commercial and residential buildings. The zoning is C1, and you would have to contact the Borough of Troop to see if a variance would be required for whatever you're planning. There is access to all public utilities, including water, sewer, electric, gas. That's a 50 by 155 level lot in Troop at 658 Sanderson Avenue for $24,000, and that's listed by Melissa Campus Hoffman of our office.
Thank you, Pat. I have a special sponsor this week, Infinite Interiors by Scott Frazier.
I saw him last week. He was driving by. He's yelling, "Hey, Fatty!" I thought I was in Brooklyn for a minute.
Hello, Frazier.
Hello, Frazier.
They believe design is more than just decor. It's the acquisition of beautiful things, curated, crafted, and customized just for you. Whether it's a cozy retreat or a bold statement space, they bring your vision to life with elegance, intention, and a touch of the unexpected. Infinite Interiors by Scott Frazier changes the world one room at a time. You can contact Infinite Interiors by calling 570-933-0495. Once again, connect with Infinite Interiors by contacting Scott Frazier, 570-933-0495. And I'd like to welcome the latest addition to our office, Kathy Burns McDermott. She's been a licensed realtor since 2021. She has a professional background as a human resource administrator. She's deeply interested in helping others. Her commitment extends to assisting both buyers and sellers within her community, and she strives to maintain the highest level of integrity. She resides in Duryea with her family. Please reach out to Kathy, that's Catherine Burns McDermott, by calling 570-468-9796 or by visiting jready.com. Stick around for more Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ready Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. We'll be right back.
Home. It's more than just walls and a roof. It's where laughter echoes, where memories are made, and where life truly happens. At Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, we know that finding the right home isn't just about real estate. It's about finding your place in the world. With trusted agents, unmatched experience, and a commitment to your dreams, we're here to guide you every step of the way. Because at Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, we're not just selling houses, we're delivering the joy of home. Find your perfect home today. Call 570-344-6724 or go to jruddy.com. That's JRUDDY.com. Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Dream big. Move boldly. Each Century 21 office is independently owned and operated.
We're back with more Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with Pat Devaney, my husband, fellow realtor.
We're back with James.
We're back with James Caceres, associate broker with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, a top producer since 2023, number one in the office last year in 2024, actually 2 years ago, and number two in 2025. Also the recipient of the National Association of Hispanic Realtors, number 27 in the Northeast region.
Correct.
And when Patrick comes in this summer, he's going to have to practice on you because he's minoring in Spanish.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'll teach him.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely.
You teach him all the bad words, right?
Oh, no.
I think he already knows.
I think he knows them, yeah.
He even knows Bulgarian bad words.
He does.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
His roommate's Bulgarian.
Yes. So,
Yeah, that's funny.
all right. So, James Caceres, before the break, we were talking about your work with buyers and what you've been seeing, especially in the Hispanic community in our area, where they tend to like to buy more populated areas instead of rural.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. They come from New York and they want to, I guess, continue living that fast-paced. But then what they happen to see is and realize is the taxes seem to be a little bit higher than the outskirts. Nothing compared to what New York
No
is.
way.
Or Jersey.
Or Jersey, right. But yeah, they do tend to like, what Scranton and those more populated areas have to offer.
Well, they're more exciting. They gravitate to that, I'm sure, because there's more to do. And it's, if you come from a big area, I've heard people that say, I thought I wanted quiet until I got quiet, and quiet's too quiet.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
That's true. That's good. I like that.
Okay. I totally just made it up.
That's good. I think
Should
we're
quote
on to
that.
something. There we go.
All right.
But
Well,
then they come to Scranton and they get a garage, right?
Well, they got a garage.
You grew up in Brooklyn. Did you know anybody with a garage?
or a driveway.
I did.
A driveway. You did?
I did, and it was rare because, yeah,
It was really rare.
yeah, it really was. Like you had to fight for parking.
Yeah, all the time.
And it's the worst because like Monday and Wednesday you can't park on one side of the street.
Alternate side of the street. And if you went home because you were out the night before,
forget about
you
it.
forget about where the car is, and then
I've had family that wouldn't come visit me because of the parking
Yeah.
situation. Yeah,
It might have been a blessing.
who knows?
Well, I mean, and if they have some sort of sentimental attachment to those parking nightmares and fights and arguments. They could just wait for the next snowstorm in Scranton and put a chair out and a garbage can and then start the fight all over again.
Yep.
There's brutal fights in the city.
Unbelievable.
In our city, that is.
Yeah, I've seen people put cones and can't.
Yeah, I don't miss it at all. Not
Well,
even
we
little
have
bit.
a cone at the end of our driveway, but that's on the street. It's by a telephone pole, and there's a string, a wire, not just a string. And because Pat has a extended.
I have a long truck. I have an extended cab.
Yeah.
And an 8-foot bed. So I come out. I got to swing wide. People park right on your driveway. I mean, they're like right there.
Yep.
So I can't make the turn.
Yeah.
And we once had neighbors that liked to park in front of our driveway, even though they had 60 foot of road frontage and a double driveway. But they, for whatever reason, their visitors and them would like to park right in front of our driveway. We couldn't get out. But and when they had visitors, they would be right up against the driveway. He can't make the turn out the driveway onto the road. And well, I mean, you could and take their front end off.
I could just drive across that lawn, too. You know what I mean? I could do donuts in from their little yard there. Oh, so sorry.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they did in one snowstorm.
And your mother's yard.
Yeah, my mother's backyard. They decided they didn't want to go out to the street, so they just cut through my mother's backyard.
And it was all
with the truck.
wet, and it was
Oh,
wet.
wow.
So there was ruts there. It was fun.
Well, 2 weeks later, there was a fence. My
Yeah,
mother
you
put up
put
a
a fence.
fence.
Yeah.
Good fences make good neighbors.
My wife wants us to put a fence because we had, like, our neighbors on the left side, they have friends that just come over all the time. They just cut right through our grass. Like, they
Oh,
just
no.
walk
It's, time,
right-
it's fence time.
Yeah.
We have a fence guy on the radio. We'll give you his name.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where people, what they think when they do things like that, but
You know, it's funny. Yesterday, they rode a bike right through there. Unbelievable. Like at 4 or 5 o'clock, they just rode a bike right through
Motorcycle?
the grass. No. It was,
Oh, bicycle. Okay.
just a regular one.
Yeah, I would
just a
put it.
regular.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fence time.
I would do something about that now, especially since you have a.
Yeah, you have the baby. Yeah, that's
Right?
good.
Yeah.
When Patrick, that was the reason we had our yard fenced in completely, because when he was little, we could just put him out there, and we knew that he couldn't.
Yeah, he wouldn't go.
Right.
Yeah, we could close the gates on the driveway, and he
Okay.
couldn't reach it.
Nice.
So he was completely fenced in. He and our little dog at the time, we had a little poodle. You have a poodle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so we would know, and then we could see most of the yard from the back of the house. So we knew he was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to consider that.
So we'll see you next week, James
Okay.
Caceres, and we'll talk more about real estate and what you do. Once again, your number and contact information, please.
Sure. If anybody wants to reach me, I'm available all the time. You can contact me at 570-352-7106, or you can email me at enj.century21@gmail.com.
And you are a Quality Service Award-winning agent continuously. You have a lot of real satisfied and Google reviews. Anybody could check those out by going online. And you can also, you have your own website, jamescaceres.com, where you could be reached.
That is correct.
All right. Thank you. Pat?
Yes, we have an amazing 5-bedroom, 4-bath, a 4,200 square foot. This house is just one of those slammers. You know, you go to the magazine and you look at it. This is one of those houses. It's at 502 Park Lane in Moscow for $789,000. This home, it's in Harmony Hills, and that's in the North Pocono School District. It's on a large corner lot. This home has an amazing in-ground pool, a 3-car built-in garage, a large private rear deck. This home has been updated. It's got a new kitchen, a new bath, a new roof. It's got a new pool heater and liner. It's got a new furnace. It's got new carpeting, and the hardwood floors have just been refinished. This home has it all, and it should be in a magazine. So if you want to see it, go to jruddy.com and search for 502 Park Lane in Moscow, a 5-bedroom, 4-bath home for $789,000, and that's listed by Gail Lewis of our office.
Thanks for joining the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ready Real Estate. I would like to wish everybody a very happy Easter
Happy Easter.
on 94.3 FM The Talker. We're back in next Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m.